Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. Today we are going to be making something that I recently discovered, and that is a low-carb treat, meal, whatever you want to call it, called a chaffle. I had heard about these for probably about a year, year and a half, and I thought that can't possibly work. Well, I decided I wanted to try it, and it absolutely blew my mind, as well as my husband, Mike. We both were like, there is no way this could be low carb, but it is. And it is very, very easy to make. And I am a person, my favorite breakfast in the world is pancakes with bacon. Well, pancakes are not low carb, and I do eat low carb. So this has become my favorite breakfast. Now, I'm going to make several different varieties, but we're going to start out with the plain chaffle is what they're called. Now, you will need a waffle iron. Now, I have two different kinds here. Either one will work. This is the little mini individual one that you can buy anywhere. You can get it online. You can get it, and I mean, anywhere sells these things that has kitchen equipment. This is ideal if you're cooking for one or two, or if you don't have one of these, you do not need to go buy them. They're about $9, $10. You can use a regular waffle iron, which is what this one is. Ooh, it's hot. I just wanted to show you that you could use either one. You will also need to spray the, the grates with some non-stick cooking spray. You can use either one. You really only need to do that once, and that's at the very first time that you're going to be making it. What you need, it couldn't be easier, is one egg beaten very well. I like to beat my egg before I put anything else in it. Okay? You will need just a pinch, and I do mean a pinch of salt. You will need half a cup of shredded mozzarella cheese and 1 heaping tablespoon of almond flour. If you want to use coconut flour, you can. The flour adds structure to it. I've tried it both ways, without the flour and with, and you definitely, I think, need the almond flour. Just mix that up. This will make 2 of the mini. So that's what I'm going to show you. You just just mix it up just like that. Put half of it in there. I got a little more than half. And then just close your lid. And in 3 or 4 minutes, it will depend on whichever kind of waffle iron you're making, you will have the most amazing, delicious waffle you have ever had, and it is low carb. Each one, like the serving of 2, with some bacon and sugar-free syrup, has like 3 grams of carbs. That's it for a breakfast. Well, regular waffles, 2 waffles is gonna have, I don't know right off the top of my head, but I would easily say 25 or 30. So it just couldn't be simpler. While that's going, I'm gonna show you something else that I discovered this week, and I was just amazed. Why I've never done this before, I don't know. Now, at home, I used my food processor. You could use a food processor with the metal blade, or you can use your mixer, either one. I had some whipping cream, heavy cream, that needed to be used, and I wasn't making any kind of a recipe that I needed it for, and I thought, I'm gonna try and see about butter, because butter is made from cream. Blew me away. So I have here 2 cups of heavy whipping cream that's very cold, and I am gonna, why are we not working? Come on, little mixer. There we go. I'm gonna just turn it on, kind of get it going. I am gonna add some salt. Now you can do unsweet or sweet, whatever you want to do. I'm gonna add just a couple of pinches of salt. Just let that go. It takes a few minutes. Let it go. Now, let's go back over here. You see what's happening? It's getting golden. It needs just a minute more. Now, this is just a basic recipe. If you wanted to take this recipe and jazz it up with some berries or blueberries or something like that, you totally can. Matter of fact, let's get some blueberries. Well, I had some. Where did my blueberry? Right here on my counter. My blueberries. I have some fresh blueberries. So I'm just gonna add a couple of blueberries to my mixture. Hear my mixer over there going. Just a few, not too many. I love blueberries. But you could add raspberries, you could add blackberries, you could add strawberries, which I love, but we're gonna be making something special here in a few minutes. Now this is just the basic one. All right, you see how golden that is? That's done. That's all there is to it. Now, I would serve that with some butter, homemade that we're making, or just regular. And I'm gonna put the rest of this inside that little chaffle maker. And I know what you're thinking, because I thought the same thing before I tried it. Lisa, that can't possibly taste good. Well, my friends, I have news for you. That is delicious. When you add your butter and you add your syrup, you think you are eating a delicious waffle that's made the traditional way, but you're not. Now, I serve it with bacon, of course, because that's my favorite. You could even crumble up some bacon and put in that batter if you wanted to. My butter isn't ready yet. Okay, let's switch back over here real quick. You see how that is now whipped cream, which I'm gonna actually stop it because I need a little whipped cream for my next recipe. I'll just use this bowl right here, this pretty little cup. I'm gonna take a little bit of that out and I'll sweeten it with, by hand. That is now whipped cream, homemade whipped cream, which, believe me, is yummy and so much better than the frozen whipped topping. I promise you it's worth it. Now, I'm just gonna turn that back on and let it go. Now, if you let your whipped cream go too long, what you're gonna end up with is butter, and that's what we want. Now, I need to sweeten this because it's not sweetened. And I have got my, let me see if I got some sugar substitute over here. I think I do. Yeah, I do. All right. I'm just gonna sweeten this with some sugar substitute to keep it low carb. All you need to do is just stir that in there. If you were just making whipped cream, you could put it straight into that mixture. That's all you need to do for sweetened whipped cream. That's gonna be for the next one. We'll just keep that going. You see how that has started deflating now? What is happening is the fat molecules are breaking down even further, and it's gonna make some butter. Let's check on this one. It's a little overfilled, but it's okay. All right, I'm gonna take a quick break, just clean this up. When I come back, we'll go ahead and make the strawberry shortcake one. Our butter should be done, and this one will be out. I'll be back in just a minute. I'm gonna show you how to make plenty more chaffles. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, when you let your whipped cream keep going, Takes a few minutes. I went ahead and did that over the break. Now my little strainer doesn't want to work on my bowl. What you're going to get is this, and you're going to go, Lisa, what is that liquid? You ever had buttermilk? It's exactly what this is. The liquid that will come off is buttermilk, homemade buttermilk. And then you will end up with, you see how you've got the solids? That, my friends, is homemade butter. Now you can mix this with cinnamon and have cinnamon butter. You could mix it with some crushed up berries and make your own blends. A lot of people rinse it. You don't have to. What I do like to do is just take a clean hand or a towel. I'll just use a towel since I'm cooking. Paper towel will be fine. And press out the liquid. And that's all you need to do. And you've got homemade butter. Tastes so good. And you can absolutely use that in, you know, a recipe that you need buttermilk. But that's how they make buttermilk. I don't know if you knew that or not. Got a tang to it. And you've got your own homemade butter. Let me put this out on a platter. I would strain it a little better if I was home and had the time, but you know, I'm here and I don't have all the time in the world. So we will just put it out on a little platter. I would keep this refrigerated and just use it, and it's really good. Fresh, homemade butter. Now, friends, you cannot beat that. And again, if you wanted to put some cinnamon in there or honey or whatever you want to flavor it up, if you're not eating low carb, you could do the honey. Feel free to do that. Now, what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of that on my truffles. Now, they're not as warm as I would like them to be because we took a little break, but you could serve that right there and then top it with some sugar-free syrup, and you've got a delicious breakfast. Absolutely delicious. And that whole meal right there, for those of you that are watching your carbs, even if you're not, this is delicious. That whole meal has probably 3, maybe 4 grams of carbohydrates. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. Now, let's make a strawberry shortcake. And I'm going to use the big waffle iron just to show you that you can. Still need 1 egg, about 1/4 of a cup of mozzarella cheese. Then you need about 2 tablespoons or so of cream cheese that you microwave for just a few seconds to kind of melt it. You will need some baking powder and some almond flour to give it that structure. Mix all that together. Put that to the side. Mix it together. And you can either make it, you know, individually in your little mini waffle iron, or you can do 2 at a time by using your regular waffle iron. I'm just going to put it in the center. It won't be perfectly squares, but I don't care about that. And just let it go according to your manufacturer's directions. You know, however long your manufacturer says to let it go. They take about 3 or 4 minutes until they're golden. And then I would serve this one with just some strawberries that I have sweetened with a little bit of sugar-free substitute sweetener, because the berries this time of year aren't exactly as sweet as I like them to be. But if you've got really sweet berries, you don't even need to do that. And then, of course, our whipped cream that we made. If you don't want to make your own, feel free to use the frozen non-dairy topping thawed or the can. Just read your labels to find out if you're watching your carb intake, your sugar intake. Read the labels on those. You'd be surprised at what can be in those things. So your homemade, although I do use them occasionally, your homemade is just so good, so good. And this one, we're going to turn into a strawberry shortcake. This is a little bit of a sweeter chaffle because we added the cream cheese. And then our strawberries, of course, are sweet. Let's take a peek. I'm so impatient. You see how that's just, not done yet. All right, let's go ahead and make up the batter for the next one while that's cooking. Oh, so good. How many of you like cinnamon rolls? Count me in that. Although I'm really not that crazy about the really, really sweet glaze on top. I know, I'm odd. I know. A little bit of vanilla. Again, 1 egg. Your basic recipe is going to be the same. Beat that up. Okay. We added our vanilla. This is just some sugar substitute, some cinnamon. Because you can't have cinnamon roll without cinnamon. Almond flour. If you are allergic to almonds or you can use coconut flour. If you're using coconut flour, you can use that in any of these. You will need to let it set for just a minute because coconut flour needs to absorb the liquid. So feel free to use coconut flour. And then, of course, your mozzarella cheese. And then stir all that together. Oh, that smells so good. And I'll tell you what, we could go ahead and do one of those in our little mini. That'd be fine. So this makes 2. So put half, approximately, in the center of your little mini maker. But you could do it in a regular one too. Either way will work. Let that go for a minute. Let's check on that one. Let's give that about a minute more. I do find the little mini ones tend to make them a little crisper. I really don't know why that is, but it does. Then for the cream cheese glaze on this, you need a couple of tablespoons of cream cheese that we're going to put in the microwave for just about 20 seconds maybe. That softens it and makes it more liquidy, and then we'll sweeten it up. Or you could make a glaze with the powdered sugar substitute and some heavy cream or water even. But I find the cream cheese glazes to be a little more substantial. Yeah, I'll show you what this looks like. Yeah, see how that just sort of melts it, which is what you want. I'll let you get a good, I can never remember which camera is where. All right, you see how that's just sort of melted? That's what you want for that one. Stir that up, add a little bit of powdered substitute, or sugar substitute, doesn't have to be powdered. And there's a cream cheese glaze. All right, let's check our strawberry shortcake one. Ooh, hoo, hoo. So good. Let's get that out. That's a little bigger than the other ones, but that's okay. Oh, I can't wait to eat these. Now, we double batched that one. Then I want to add my beautiful strawberries on there. And our homemade whipped cream that we made earlier. And there you go. A delicious and easy to make low-carb chaffle strawberry shortcake. And we've got a beautiful little strawberry here, so let's just go ahead and make a little garnish out of it, just for pretty. Just take a pretty strawberry, slice it, but don't slice it all the way through and then fan it out. And that makes a pretty little topping for your strawberry shortcake. Okay, ooh, he's going. Ooh, so good. All right, I'm just gonna let this cook, clean up my mess. I won't glaze it or anything. When I come back, we are gonna make the ultimate after school, anytime you wanna eat, need a snack, chaffle. We're gonna make a pizza chaffle. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, all I did was cook the other half of that batter and then just spread that cream cheese and sprinkled it with a little bit of extra cinnamon. That's all I did to that one. Now, I'm going to use the big one for this. This is going to be a pizza chaffle, which I think is just so easy. Again, 1 egg, half a cup of mozzarella cheese, tablespoon of almond flour, some Italian seasoning, and a pinch of salt, just a pinch. Now, I am choosing to do pepperoni. I chopped up a little bit of pepperoni, about 4 or 5 slices, and I'm just putting that in that batter. But you don't have to do that. You can put it on top if you want. Or you could use whatever toppings you like. If you want to have some sauteed onions and peppers in there, or olives or mushrooms, whatever you like on your pizza will work. And then make sure your pepperonis are evenly distributed. And again, I'm just going to use the regular, but you could use the mini waffle iron if you want. I'm just putting it in the middle and cook your chaffle. This recipe base can be used in so many different ways. I mean, once you do the original basic one, which is what we did here, you're only limited by your imagination. You could add anything you want to that. Again, I did some blueberry, but you could add chopped up strawberries. You could add just some cinnamon to your basic batter. If you wanted a sweet breakfasty type thing, you could add any kind of a spice. If you wanted to make that let's say a garlic cheddar type thing, well, I think you need a little bit of mozzarella, but do half mozzarella, half cheddar cheese, and add some garlic powder. And then do the same thing, and you've got a wonderful little garlic biscuit maybe to serve alongside something that you're cooking. I mean, you really are only limited by your imagination. You could totally do a pumpkin one, add some pumpkin spice flavor or some, pumpkin puree, maybe a tablespoon of pumpkin puree, and then top it with whipped cream or whatever kind of thing. If you wanted that pumpkin pie flavoring, you totally could do that. You could make them lemon. You could have extracts and make any kind of flavor that your mind can come up with. Really, I had a hard time narrowing this down. I was sitting down planning the program, and I was like, man, I just want to show them all, but for time's sake, I couldn't do that. We might do a part 2, I don't know. But these are just some basics that I thought, most people really like this. And if you're watching your carb intake, it can be hard. It can be challenging with some things, and you get tired of eating the same thing over and over. So this is just a way that you can expand your food choices by simple, little, easy to do things. Now, I'm making the pizza one. Needs about a minute more. Oh, I mean, you can smell that Italian seasoning. If you wanted to add a little bit of garlic powder to that, you totally could. It would be delicious. You really could use the chaffle part as a base and then top it with anything. You could make peach shortcake. I chose strawberry shortcake because that's my favorite, but you could do peach shortcake. Now that would have a few more carbs in it, but you could use the no sugar added canned peaches to keep it down. Just make sure that you read your labels and keep it within your allotted carb count. But you could really just use your imagination. We all could benefit, I think, from reducing our carb intake. Really, I do believe that. Now, we've got you see how just golden and beautiful that is? That will be your crust, all right? Then you can top it. Now, I did put some chopped pepperonis in there, but I want to have a little more. First of all, some no sugar added pizza sauce or pesto, whatever you want to put on yours will work. Just spread that on there. And then I think I'll do my mozzarella next. Just a little bit extra shredded mozzarella. This mozzarella is not treated with cellulose, and that's why it's clumping. Did you know that's how they keep that bag shredded separate, is cellulose? This is not, doesn't have that. So, and then add whatever you want. If I had some black olives, I'd totally put some black olives on there. but I don't have any. And you want to just melt the cheese. So I'm going to put this in the microwave. Got one left. I'll eat that. I'll put the rest of that on top. I don't think you can have too much cheese on a pizza. In the microwave for just a few seconds, just to melt that cheese. Maybe, you know, 15, 20 seconds. And that's it. I love pepperonis. I don't know if you like pepperoni or not. If you don't, leave it out. You could totally use the turkey pepperoni or sausage, whatever you like on your pizza. Just think of what you like and top it with what you want. That needs a few seconds more. One of my favorite, again, I'll go back to the original one that we did. I love that flavor of pancakes, bacon, and syrup together. McDonald's has this dish called a McGriddle. Well, it's loaded with carbs. It is delicious. I'll give you that. It is so good. And it has all of my flavors that I like in one bite. Well, you could make these, chop up your bacon and put in there. You could add some sugar-free syrup to the batter and cook them, and then put bacon between two of them and have your own little McGriddle. Now, here's our pizza. Now, it will get softened. It won't be a crispy crust like you're used to. If you want that, you could put this in the oven for just a minute. But there you go, a quick and easy chaffle pizza. Here is what we did today. We did the original